What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about golds and their likelihood of going diamond. We're still well over a week away from the next roster update. So this is kind of a down period where you start to get a bunch of your investments in before the crush of next week, when a lot of hype starts to circulate around certain players and you know, we start to really key in on who's going to get upgraded. So this is working more not just for the short term, but also some long-term potential here. And we'll just kind of go through a lot of these players in the 84 to 82, maybe 83 range. We'll see if we get into some 82s, 81s, 80s. It's too early to really get focused on them right now, so we're not going to go through every single gold at this point. But let's just dive right in and start with Corbin Burnes. Obviously, he had all the fanfare early on as the potential diamond in the Brewers rotation, and then he got leapfrogged by Brandon Woodruff because he was on the COVID IL. Nothing really changed except that his price went down. Hopefully you were able to take advantage of that when he hit the little dip there. You know, he got down under 4K pretty regularly there. You could put some orders in to at least get a little something, either if you were late to the party or if you just wanted to double down on your investment in him. Obviously now I would not invest, but he is pretty certain to go diamond here, so we don't need to waste too much time on him. With the Nelson Lumet, you know, he went diamond last year. He had an excellent season. The problem right now is if he does, like, even though he's only 1 point away, he's just not pitching enough to really justify them making any sort of move. And in addition to that, because he's only going a couple innings at a time, if he gives up a run or two, it's like a bad ERA. So not that ERA is the driving force, but he also has to get, you know, 2-3 strikeouts in that first inning or that second inning, or he's out. So everything's kind of off for him right now. He is very cheap. If you're a Lumet believer, I understand getting in right now because he is only 1 point away and he's pretty cheap. I'm not a huge Lumet guy, so I'm not really in on it. So this is more of a personal preference thing. If he's your dude and you believe that they're going to start working him back into 5-6 inning stints eventually, well, then I totally understand it. But until that point, I'm kind of waiting. I'm willing to maybe give up some equity to where, you know, that first 6 inning start that he has, if it's really good, then he probably jumps up to like 2,500. I'm willing to give that up at this point because I'm really not that strong on him having that sort of season this year. I think it's going to be in between, and I don't know if the health is going to hold. Been just waiting for Lindor to keep going down. I am going to reinvest in a return to diamond here. As you can see, he's just on a straight line down right now. I think you can get in any point now as long as it continues to stay down or static. It'll take a while to start going back up. Obviously, he has to eventually start performing as well, but I am going to go ahead and take the shot that he rebounds and gets back on track enough to go diamond. I am still going to wait for the price to bottom out a little bit more, though. I will say this, though. If you were working on the Mets collection, hopefully if you didn't have Lindor, now you can get him much cheaper. And I'm looking right now. He is playing better of late, but that's just because he was so horrid. He had nowhere to go but up. But just over his last 11 games, tiny sample and arbitrary, I just kind of picked the games that he's doing well in, but he's hitting 282, 383, 487. That's a good slash line. 2 homers. That's a 30 homer pace, though, over the sample that we're talking about. So he's getting there. Like I said, once this gets under 2K, I'm probably going to put away 7 to 10 shares and just kind of put him off to the side there. I think we're a ways away from him getting back there. I mean, his season batting average isn't even over 200. So you've got time. Just let it bottom out a little bit more. Or at least stay in the sub 2,500 level. Lance Lynn, for some reason, he just kind of lives at this price, even though he's a point away. He went diamond last year, and he's pitching well again. I know a lot of folks were pretty upset that he didn't go last time. He didn't really deserve it, though. I thought that was actually perfectly fair of SDS not to get him there, but he does feel destined for diamond. Like, I know that's our little tagline for it, but it just seems like a when, not if with him. There's still plenty of meat on the bone here for somebody that feels so certain that you could almost get 2 Gs. I've got my 5 shares that I can sell, and I'll probably just hang on to those right now. I'm not really trying to get in too much more, but I do feel very strongly that he's going to get there. McNeil, let's take a look here. He's on inside edge. Oh, wait. We got Oh, wait, that's my parallel. Never mind. I was like, he's up to 85. Where's the inside edge? No, that's my parallel that I have him up there. Here's the deal with these. Anybody that's like an 83 or 84 that is near base price, you can get in on for free, right? Because essentially, because even if he doesn't go, you can just quick sell these back for $1,000. Now, in his case right now, he's on the IL and he wasn't playing that well before that. So you have to be patient. I probably wouldn't do it right now because it's just putting capital away in a spot that I don't want to do that. But if you are flush with bankroll and you're a big, Jeff McNeil or Mets fan, you can do it because it's pretty risk free. And he probably doesn't need that much to get there, but it's going to come from his batting average once he gets healthy. Posey is kind of like Lance Lynn right now, where I'm surprised he hasn't gone higher. Now, you look at this, and this might be alarming to you, that he gets plus 11s against lefties to go to 85. And you'd be like, dang, he needs plus 11s? Not so fast, my friend. The other day, we saw plus 3s against righties, and that got him to 85. So that's a lot more palatable. The bottom line is that he's going to get some power boost probably on both sides at this point, the way he's been playing. I mean, I've said this a couple times already, but it feels insane to say that he's a damn near lock for Diamond at this point. Nobody, absolutely nobody had Buster Posey returning to a Diamond tier this year, but I really think it's going to happen. So you can still get in and get about almost 2 G's of potential upside there. I think it's worth getting at least a little something of Posey because the way he's hitting right now and the power that he's delivering makes it feel like a surefire thing as early as next week. This is another one that I'm pretty surprised on, that he's going to have a great chance to get to Diamond. Yuli Guriel, dude, 36 years old, had a rough 2 months last year. I don't even want to call it a season because it wasn't a season. I know it's classified as such, but for our purposes of judging their talent and really making a good assessment on them, 2 months is just not enough to really care and say like, oh, well, he's lost it. He had a rough 2 months. So he's back. He's actually age 37 this season. And he's hitting for that same power that he had 2 years ago, along with his batting average returning. You see plus 12s here gets him 3 points. He's on the cusp. I mean, he's not going to need that much to get to 85. And with the power that he's hitting for, he's going to get there. And his price is, he's absolutely priced to buy. You can already see people are bidding him up right now. He was at 2,100. He just shot up 300 on the left side buy now because people are like, yo, I got to get in on this. I never would have thought this one was coming through because I thought his power was kind of fluky in 19, but he's showing that it's here, and I think Yuli Gurriel has a great shot to go Diamond in the very near future. George Springer, he's just getting back, so there's some, you're going to have to be patient, but it's damn near base price. So this is a many-time Diamond. He kind of lives in that 85 to 86 range. You could easily envision at some point this year that he goes back to Diamond. So if you are a Springer fan, I say get in now instead of waiting until he hits that hot streak and then the price soars. Because again, everyone knows, oh, he's back on the IL already. I thought he came off the IL. Oh wow, pardon me. I thought he was off the IL and back, and then he went right back on, or did he not come off yet? Am I completely drunk? He came off May. No, he hasn't come back. Okay, I'm a clown. I'm a total clown. Pardon me. I thought he was already off the IL for some reason. I don't know why I thought that. Either way, the same factor applies now. Just keep an eye on his health status. But you can buy now, keep it really cheap, and then just wait for him to get back. Obviously, monitor his injury situation. I thought he was back. Pardon me on that one. Javi Baez. I don't know, he's priced at a level that you feel comfortable buying because it can't really hurt you, but just by virtue of being cheap doesn't mean you should automatically invest. And Baez is going to be somebody where I am going to tap the brakes despite a quality price here because he's done some good things this year. Like from a fantasy standpoint, you can't really complain. 9 homers, 6 steals, 259 average. Like a 259 average is actually above average this year. We got to change our frame of reference, both for fantasy and for, in investment assessments, because this is basically a form of fantasy baseball. 259 is not that bad. Now, it's not going to draw you a huge upgrade in your contact numbers, because, he's about average in both of his contact numbers, and 259 is, just above average. So it's not really going to help him there, but he hasn't been that bad. Problem is, though, he's striking out like crazy. He doesn't walk. He has a sub 300 OBP. It's just rife for ugly cold streaks, right? And we've even seen a little bit of that within this season with Javi Baez. So he's got the raw talent to get there. I mean, he's been diamond before, right? I'm not saying anything particularly special when I bring that up. But to me, it's just too volatile, and I really don't want to mess with it. So this will be another personal preference one. If you can stomach the potential volatility and you want to get on that roller coaster, by all means, he is priced to buy. But I'm not super confident that he's going to get there this year, so I'm personally sitting out. Let's just lump all the DHs together here, okay? We got Cruz at base price now, which is shocking considering he's an 80. Was he an 83 or 84? Considering he's an 83. Then we've got JD just under 2 Gs as an 83, and then we have Alvarez. Stanton already went. Where's the Astros? I passed them. Then we've got Alvarez at an 81. So he's a good ways off, and you see these plus 13s against righties. I mean, that's going to take some real decimation of righties to get plus 13s, and that would still only get him to 84. So let's just start with Alvarez and say he's off the table right now. Basically, what he needs to do to even kind of get into focus is crush lefties for an extended period of time to get a fat upgrade there. And even that might not be enough, because then that's just going to put him in the Cruz and JD zone, which we've dealt with before. Remember, the last time JD got diamond, it was because they sprinkled a little bit on his defense. It didn't really change the card, but it was enough to get him there. So it made sense because he was playing out of his mind. He is playing out of his mind again, but the only problem is he's not really playing defense, which is, at least when they did that year, I think it was 18 or 19. I can't remember when they did that. The years kind of blend together anymore. But when they did that, he was at least playing the field. And like I said, they moved him from like a 42 to like a 51 fielding. And like, no one noticed that, that didn't like change the card. Now he does have 8 games in the outfield. He actually is, I forgot, he actually is close to getting, fantasy eligibility. And they have a series in Philadelphia this weekend. And if he plays 2 of those 3 games, he's going to have fantasy eligibility. Now, I don't know if he's done enough in those 69 innings that he's played to, get a little boost or not. I don't know. I think I'm just worn out. You can throw in, even though we're talking diamonds, you can throw in Franmil Reyes in his quest for gold. In that, I love these guys. They're great, but they're just such a pain in the ass to deal with on the investment landscape, because everything has to come from hitting. So you're living and dying with every at-bat, especially those at-bats against their, whichever side they're weaker against. So bringing it all the way back to Cruz, I know that he is base price. So if you want to get invested, or like me, stay invested, because I still have 5 left, and I'm just going to hold these. I got these very early in the year, and I'm just going to sit on these. You can, because again, there is no risk. But my hopes of Cruz getting diamond are low. I think they're going to make up. They're going to give us a Cruz diamond either from Texas or Seattle or Baltimore, something like from his past, and probably keep his live series at gold, which I get, because he's inept defensively. Like, his arm probably shouldn't even be that good anymore. But I like that they keep that for us in the game. So let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's just keep what we've got. And so that's the DHs. And as far as JD goes, again, I'd be more apt to invest in him over Cruz, but just know the headache that you're in for. Ketel Marte is still on the IL. Let me check that one since I was dead ass wrong about Springer. I don't want to embarrass myself too much with these wrong calls on the IL. Marte is still hurt, right? Yes, he is. So he was amazing before. Like in the 6 games that he did play, he was truly brilliant. So if he comes back and plays like that, he's going to go back to Diamond. But when the heck is he going to come back is the real question. I'm actually looking that up right now to see if I can get some information. He is... Oh, wait, he was literally activated today. Literally 2 hours ago. Holy smokes. So I am just... If I say something about a player on the IL, the opposite is true. I'll tell you what. Keep a close eye on him. Because, again, base price. And when I say base price, I basically mean anything under like 1,100, which I know is not technically true. 1,000 is the quick sell price. But if I'm risking, 70 stubs per share, even 100 stubs per share, that's still like a no risk thing to me. That's not enough for me to really care. I hope you got in on the ground floor, y'all. This is something that we have been talking about. I can definitely do a little victory lap on this one, because if you subscribe to my Twitch channel and you had the list, I've been talking about Flaherty for a little bit now, and he was at base price a while ago, so you could have gotten in way cheap not too long ago. But he's continued to pitch well, and the market's starting to get keen to him, and now look at where his price is at. So you could still get in. You're late, and so you're not going to make as much, but you can still get in for now. But it's tenuous. I wouldn't do too much at 3,500. Clevenger's out for the year. Ramon had a nice 2-homer game yesterday. Let me check something in particular right now since we're talking about him, because we see a clear weakness on the card, right? He has a clear platoon split. So let's see how he's doing against his weak side to determine, is he going to get the advances that he needs. Unfortunately, he is completely living up to his platoon. He has a 200 average and a 723 OPS and against righties, and a 347 average and a 1049 OPS against lefties. So he's doing well. He can continue to go higher against lefties, and he probably won't get downgraded against righties because he's already pretty low. But to really push Diamond, I think we need some righty goodness again for Laureano. And my Twitch chat points out that he is riding a 220 BABIP that will go up, and this is still very cheap. So this would be a ground floor situation. If you want to get in on the Laureano train right now, this is the time to do it. Not wait until he gets good against righties and then ends up in a Jack Flaherty situation. Chapman is a one-time diamond, and the one thing I love about these type of players is we know exactly what they need to do, right? For him, it's just hit. The defense is completely on lock. So we know that we can just track his hitting, and if he gets the hitting on track, he's going to go back to diamond. Now, he's not there yet because his hitting isn't there. His contact ratings cannot be touched positively because he has a 233 batting average, including a 198 against righties, and he can't just lean on BABIP because he has a 279, which isn't good, but that doesn't explain the 198 average. So he's got some work to do, but it's cheap enough, especially coming from diamond, that you can get a little bit in right now and just kind of sit tight. You see that +9s against righties gets him back to, he's very close, but he has to put in the work because he has not done anything right now that's going to get him there. He might get a little sprinkle against lefties the next update if he continues to hit well against them, but I think they're only going to take him to 84 until he gets good against righties. So keep that in mind with Chapman. All right, and then moving forward, Ozzy Albies. Now you see, he just needs +9s there against lefties, and that would send him upward. Now, I want to see how he's doing against righties though, because obviously that's the best avenue that he can gain. I think he's living up to his platoon as well. and he might not even be doing that well against lefties, but let me check. The punchline is do not invest right now unless you are super patient, because yeah, he's completely living up to his platoon. 219 against righties with a 721 OPS, 263 against lefties with an 853 OPS. So again, he's not even been as good against lefties as his numbers suggest. He's not, if anything, he should probably go down to an 82 before he goes up to an 85. So you can track him, and I know it's a ground floor situation because of his price, but I still think it's too early. I think you're better off putting that bankroll elsewhere and keeping him on your watch list as opposed to investing now, because I think you still have some time to where even if he starts to hit well in the next week or so, his price isn't going to skyrocket. So I think you can wait a little bit on Albies, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep him on my watch list, and hopefully he starts to turn around against righties, and then we'll jump in. His 240 BABIP against righties and lefties tells me that he's going to get some base hits coming up soon. We have a lot of high gold Oakland A's here with Matt Olson. Now, Matty O, what's he got to do here? Let me take a look at his splits. Give me a second here. So he has a clear weakness against lefties, but he's actually doing something about it. 250 average, which is okay, but he's got a 538 slug against them. I love to see that. That's damn near a 300 ISO. So I think we might start to see a little bit of power improvement against lefties. Maybe get him to that 84 range, and then we'll see where we're at. I think Matty O is somebody to invest in. Remember, we were big on him last year. It did not come to fruition. He had a disastrous season batting average wise, to the point where they couldn't justify it. He hit sub 200 in the 2-month season last year, so that was difficult. But Matty O is definitely a ground floor situation that you want to get in now, because it could come quickly. Because when he gets hot, he goes on a streak, and then you look up and it's like, oh, his last 14 games he's hitting 340 with 7 homers, and then boom, he's diamond. So that's where I'm at with Matty O. I would definitely be investing in him. In fact, I already have some from earlier in the year that I'm hanging on to. Whit Merrifield's come back down to base price, and I think that makes him ripe for an investment too. He's another guy who, when he gets hot, it happens quickly and he pops off big time. I mean, he almost never really goes cold, to be honest. I mean, everyone has cold streaks, and he's only hitting 256 on the year, so he's definitely had some cold streaks. But he's a 293 career hitter, and I think you got to look at a 259 BABIP and say that has to improve for Whit Merrifield, and I think he's going to hit diamond at some point this year. So at this price, I'm jumping in. I've already got some, but he's still so cheap that I think you gotta take a shot. Alex Verdugo, he could get there. He is kind of like a Laureano type in that the defense. Actually, I was mentioning it with Chapman, but Laureano fits the bill too, where the defense is on lock. So you can laser focus on the hitting and say, hey, if he's hitting at this level for this period of time, he's going to get a boost. Now you see +7s gets him to 84. So he definitely strikes me as somebody who's going to stair step, where he's going to have to go to 84 first, be there for a couple weeks, then maybe get to 85 the next update or the update after that. So we're probably at least a good 6 weeks away at a minimum. And your own patience better than I can. So if you're willing to stick around for that, then by all means, go ahead and get in, because the price is there. I think this is a pretty worthy investment, though. He's got the skills to push diamond this year, because I don't even think it necessarily has to come from his power. He can be a +300 hitter. He's at 285 right now. He doesn't strike out a lot. So he could go either way. Either the power surge gets him there, or he goes heavy contact and starts hitting 330 against righties and 285 against lefties, to the point where they have to boost both of his contact ratings, and he gets there that way. So there's multiple avenues for Verdugo, and again, the price is right to jump in. So be mindful of what I'm saying, though, on these terms. Some of these guys are shorter term than others, and if you're not patient, don't invest. I talk about this in fantasy a lot with my analysis. You know the kind of fantasy manager you are. Do you want to chase saves off the waiver wire and have to bid on every guy who's fucking breathing in the 9th inning? Fine, then do that because you like to do that. Or do you hate having to chase saves? No, well then draft Chapman and Hader. I mean, it's hard to get both, but you know what I mean? Like, get 2 premium closers, and then you can take that time off. I know some of you like to set it and forget it with some investments. So some of y'all are going to put like 20 Verdugos aside and just wait. And then in, early July, you're going to be like, oh shit, Verdugo's about to go diamond, and I have 20 that I bought at 1,000. Paul Sporer is a god. I love him. And then you're going to be just like Reddit. You're going to be obsessed with me, which is pretty cool. JD Martinez already talked about Nicholas Castellanos. He's trying to get back to diamond. Again, this is another one. We know the clear path that he can. The best way to get there is to beast on righties. He was diamond last year for that super fast start that he had, and then he hit the skids big time. This year, he's off to another brilliant start. He leads the National League in OPS, and he is crushing righties. So he should at least go to 84 next update, and then we'll see what's what from there. But he's a very strong diamond candidate, and there's still plenty of room to invest. I've got 8 right now, and I'm kind of sitting on those. I'll pluck another one off the top. I'll do that. Someone will sell that to me. Polar Bear, Pete Alonso. What's he been up to this year? I think he's like one of the only good Mets hitters, right? Yeah, they don't have too many guys playing well, and a lot of them that are now on the IL, like J.D. Davis and Brandon Nimmo. But Pete's doing his thing. I mean, he's got a 116 OPS plus, so he's been 16% better than league average. That's fine. He is hitting 236, which isn't the end of the world because his power's there. He's just under 200 ISO with a 433 slug. He's not going diamond anytime soon, though, so don't worry about it. Starling Marte. Is he on the IL? I'm reluctant to say anything. Yeah, he is. Okay. Was he activated 9 minutes ago to make me look stupid, or is he still on the IL? I think he is. And until he comes back, don't worry about it. He did hit diamond last year, so we will look at him when he gets back, but he's been out for a while. I want to get him back on the field, see where he's at. I wouldn't even invest right now. I would put those stubs elsewhere. JD, I mean, here's the thing. The reason I probably wouldn't invest in him right now is because he is playing pretty well. Quite well, in fact, I should say. 270, 362, 490. That's a really good slash line. But I worry because he's got a heavy split. So they're probably going to nooch him next time out, or maybe get him to 84 by boosting him against lefties and taking it away against righties. Because he's balanced here, but he's not been balanced this year. He's hitting 239 against righties, 345 against lefties. And yes, I am just citing batting average, which I only do that because it's so important for MLB The Show. You guys know, generally, I'm not going to just be citing batting average as a standalone figure, but when it directly correlates to contact in our ratings here, we have to care a lot more about batting average than we normally do in terms of talent. But yeah, he's destroying lefties, but he's been pretty mediocre against righties. So I don't really see it right now. Plus the ever-present health concerns. I mean, he's already been injured this year, so I think it's just a headache that you don't really want to get involved in. It's damn near base price, so if you want to go, like a half volume of what you would normally do, sure. But man, I don't know. It feels like one of those where it's like you're gonna get excited because he's killing it, and then he's gonna get hurt, and they're not gonna put him at diamond. I don't mean to rain on the Jose Abreu parade, but it wasn't hard to see it coming that he was going to lose his diamond this year. Not that he's not a great player. He's actually a really, really good player, but he strikes me as the perfect high gold. Because he's a really strong hitter, but he doesn't excel at any one thing. He has mediocre defense at first base. He's not fast. He's not an elite strikeout guy, not an elite walk guy. He's just good. And he got diamond last year because he killed it for 2 months and he was the MVP, and I'm fine with that. They brought him in as a diamond to say, hey, if this is legit, you can hold it. Well, he came back to his level, which is still a very good level. He has a 133 OPS plus. The bottom line with all this rambling, though, is I don't see him getting back, really. He has a distinct split that fits the card. 776 OPS against righties, 1019 against lefties. Until that changes, I don't think we need to really pay attention to Abreu. Thor's out right now. Muncy's having a weird season. You see here that all he needs is +9 against righties to get there. That's really intriguing to me. That seems so light for 3 points. That I'm completely torn, because normally I would say, well, he's 3 points away. Don't worry about him. He's not going to get there. But like, maybe he fucking gets there. I don't know, dude. He's only hitting 254, which is actually an improvement for him. He hit 192 last year. He's kind of like Matt Olson, where, the 2 months was kind of funky. But he has MLB high 38 walks. His discipline might need to go to 125. Because he has a 436 OBP, which leads the National League. So that alone might get him to like 84. And then all he really needs to do is get a little something against righties or lefties. And that might get him there. I don't know. I'm still pretty suspect on it. I know it says +9s would get him there based on inside edge. I would not go gung-ho on Max Muncy, though. Mainly because he can go a month hitting 130 and still hit like 6 homers and have a 320 OBP, because that's just the way his profile is. Because he walks a ton, so he's always getting in deep counts. He's a fly ball hitter because he's always going for power. So a little bit of bad luck, and all of a sudden he's not even hitting my weight for a month, and poof, there goes any chance at diamond. So again, maybe like a half investment. Like I say, if you normally get like 50 of a guy when you're really into him getting upgraded, maybe get 20 or 25 Muncies. For me, if I'm like super into somebody, it's like, I get 25, 30. I have some exceptions, like my low tier guys, I'll get 50, 60, 70 of. But with a higher end guy, my high end investment's probably 25. So I might get 5 or 6 Muncies, maybe. Because he is very cheap. He's literally base price. So it can't hurt you to take the shot, but just don't get your hopes up too much. That's one thing I want to say, is when you're balancing your expectations. Correa, again, we see with inside edge what it takes to get there, +14s against righties. Now, he's probably not going to get +14s in a single update, but that can be spread out across the core 4 there, the 2 contact and the 2 power numbers. And then if he can do anything with like his vision or discipline, there's a path. He's not on that path yet, but keep a very close eye on Correa, because we know how electric he can get when he's really on. In fact, his last 7 days, he has a 1071 OPS. So maybe he's starting to turn it on a little bit. I'm not investing yet because it's so cheap that I don't need to, but he's firmly on the watch list right there with like an Ozzy Albies, who I mentioned earlier, that I have on the watch list. Giolito finally had a big outing today. Looked a lot more like himself. He was diamond last year as well. He was anointed as an ace by the fantasy community, and I totally understood it too, by the way. I was part of it, so that I'm not like chastising, pretending like I knew that he was going to have a damn near 5 ERA 8 starts into the season. But he's been a little bit inconsistent, and I think some of that has been uneasiness with the third pitch, with the slider. So he's really been down to fastball changeup. Like, the strikeouts have been there all year. That's been saving him. But he's allowed a lot of home runs. He's had a little bit of an elevated walk rate. But he looked great today against the Twins. Maybe this is him getting back on track. Do not need to invest yet, though, because I think we're still several good starts away from him really turning the corner to push into that diamond tier. Will Smith, the catcher, another one. Wow, inside edge being really friendly to us here, really showing us what we need to get these players to the next tier. Again, he's like Correa. He's not going to get +14s against righties in one single update, but he can work toward that. Maybe get 7 points in contact and power in one update and 7 points in another. Problem is, he is completely meeting his platoon, where he has a 996 OPS against righties and a 596 against lefties. So even if they gave him a healthy boost against righties next time out, I think they got to ding him against lefties. He's hitting 186. And yeah, you can put some of that on a 226 BABIP, but they still would need to take a few points away and move him under 50 probably. So I would not invest in Will Smith right now until he becomes more balanced or starts carrying like a fucking 1500 OPS against righties to counterbalance everything he's doing against lefties. I don't really think it's there. Jose Altuve, yeah, I mean, it's kind of on the Correa thing. We know how hot he can get, and you can keep an eye on it. And yet another guy who has plus 14s today that shows us that he can get there. He is hitting 307 on the season. Let's see how he's doing on his split. I think he's living up to his card split. Yep. 242 average against righties, 377 against lefties. So again, I don't really see him getting there without a change to that. Corey Kluber has a no-hitter through 7, by the way, against Texas. His former team, which feels weird to say since he spent like 7 minutes there. Looks like he's getting back on track, though. Kluber has strung a few good starts together now, and now he's looking at a potential no-no. So, sorry, I just got that update. Figured I'd pass that on, even though a lot of you probably already knew in the Twitch chat. Wilson Contreras, I don't really see diamond out of him just in general. I don't think he really has the hitting profile to get there. And we're starting to get into the 82s where I might have to just kind of skip around and find some guys that might be worth discussing, because not every 82 is going to have a real path to get there. And I don't really see Contreras is having a great season. I just think he's capped at like an 83, 84. Again, I think he is kind of a quintessential high gold. I don't necessarily see him pushing for diamond. KB could get back there, though. He started off brilliant. I mean, he's been brilliant all year. 309, 401, 626. I frankly don't understand why he's still only an 82. I don't get it. Let me see what he's doing against righties real quick. Let me see if that's maybe it. He is hitting 275, 370, 510 against them. Okay, so I understand if they don't update the contact. That doesn't necessarily need to go up. But I think the power output with a 510 slug and a 235 ISO, I think that needs to go up. And yes, he does have a 105.95 against lefties, but you could make a case that he should still go up even more. His line against lefties is 405, 488, 946. He has 15 hits against lefties, 5 doubles, and 5 homers. Now, he is also running a 476 BABIP, so he will come down against lefties. But in the short term, I think they can make him, like 112 contact and 105 power against lefties. And then 70 contact against righties, just leave that there. And then move the power up to like 83. And that might be enough to get him diamond. I mean, he's playing like a diamond right now, so I feel like they should be a little bit more aggressive with him. At least put him on the cusp. At least get him to 84, so that way if he continues to perform at this level, or if when he regresses against lefties, he makes it up against righties, give him a path to get there. I think Bryant is worth investing in. The price is right. He's been a diamond before. He's been one of the best players in baseball. Frankly, I think SDS has a little bit of catching up to do with him, and we'll see where it's at. Ohtani bunted against the shift and then tried to steal, and it looks like he might have been thrown out by Hedges. He thinks he's safe, though. Gene Segura is a fresh gold this year. He got up to an 82. I don't really see diamond from him. He just doesn't have the power output. TA, I think he is still destined for diamond. Another guy with plus... What was it with the plus 14s today, man? Those were hot. Like, how many guys have we had here that had plus 14? I think he's right. I think he is safe, by the way, for Ohtani. Yeah, so we look at Tim Anderson. He got there last year as well. I kind of thought that he had a chance to get there quickly this year. And the way he's playing, he is living up to his platoon as far as crushing lefties. But he's at 311, 342, 500 against righties. He's doing well against righties. Now, he's running a super high BABIP again. That's just kind of the name of his game. So even though it's at 411, I'm getting to the point where I trust Tim Anderson to run a well above average BABIP. Now, something over 400 it's just really, 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 really hard to maintain that for an entire year. So I still think that's going to come down. But for him, I kind of set his baseline at like 380, which is really freaking high. But that's what he's been able to maintain. So I think Tim Anderson is a worthy investment. He is base price, cannot hurt you. Just hang on for the ride and see where he goes. Grandal, no. Plus 14. Oh, only plus 13s. But no, he's not going to get there. He just doesn't make enough contact. I just don't see it. Justin Turner. Remember when Justin Turner was absolutely out of his mind to start the season? It was kind of like Chris Bryant, except Chris Bryant's maintained it and Turner's kind of come back to earth. Now he's still having a great year, but he's not pushing for diamond anymore the way it looked like he was early on. And I think we can move on from Justin Turner now, at least until another hot streak. Ohtani was indeed out. They did get his knee. The replay showed it. Now here's one that I'm keeping a very close eye on because he is super cheap and he's quietly dominating again. Hyun-Jin Ryu. He made diamond last year, deservingly, and we're at a point now where I think we need to just appreciate how great he is. And the fact is, he's never bad. The only thing that usually comes up with him is health. Like when Ohtani struggles, it's usually a precursor to an injury, and then he goes on the IL. But the only bad, I don't even want to say season, because it was literally 4 2/3, and then I think that was the year that he ripped the freaking muscle off the bone when he ripped his thigh or whatever it was, and he was out. So, like, that's his only bad season, but it's not even a season. Every other time throughout his career, Ryu's been excellent, just injury. Well, he's stayed healthy now, dating back to 2019. He was healthy all last year, even though it was only a 2-month season. He's been pretty healthy this year. I'm investing in Ryu. I think I might have called him Ohtani at one of these points because I was looking at Ohtani. But give me Ryu as somebody I'm holding on to for the long term. I think he can get there by the All-Star break if he continues to pitch like this, and it's not costing you anything. All right, and then Sonny Gray. I don't know, guys. I don't really see it right now. I know the Reds pitching, the focus has been on Castillo's struggles. Gray hasn't been struggling anywhere near to that level. In fact, his ERA is sub 4. So if you're looking at him on the surface, you're like, oh, he's fine. And he mostly is. His whip's running a bit high, though, because the walk rate is back and he's given up a few hits more than expected. I will say this. I'm not worried about Sonny Gray, but I also don't see diamond. So you can comfortably ignore him for now. Same goes with Sal Perez. You know, if he pops off again the way he did last year and starts chasing down potential diamond, we'll revisit. But I wouldn't even necessarily invest in this for the long term because he's still 3 points away and he's heavily platooned right now. 308 average against righties, 186 against lefties. So he's living up to his cards platoon, and until he turns that around, he's not going diamond. My boy Luke Voit. Now, he made it last year. Don't forget, last year was the super aggressive year. So it's going to be different for these guys to get there this year. But that doesn't mean that they can't still carve the path out. He's just getting started. His season literally has started a week ago. So he hasn't really done anything of note. This is absolutely getting in on the ground floor because nobody's even thinking about him right now because he doesn't even have 7 games under his belt. I think he's playing in his 7th game tonight. So if you want to get in on the Luke Voit train, you can get in very early and very cheap. It cannot hurt you if you believe in him from last year. Now's the time to get in and just sit because you're going to have to wait, I think, until at least the All-Star break. And again, when I say that, just as the normal disclaimer that I give on these videos or when I'm doing the roster update reviews, when I say a time frame, that's assuming they just kind of continue at a strong trajectory. If they go way above their normal numbers, like if he hits 7 homers in the next 20 days, that's going to change things, right? That's like a huge hot streak. So I'm assuming like he's Luke Voigt. He's himself. He gets going and eventually works himself up to diamond. If he has a hot streak, then that's going to speed up the process. Ken Giles is out for the year. Joey Gallo is just never going to be diamond. I don't really see Matt Barnes getting there unless we get into August and he's still maintaining this insane walk rate. Maybe not even August. Maybe just July. Because that's been the key to his success this year, is that he's not walking anybody, and they've already started to add to it. Now, he has a 1.3 BB9 this year, which deserves way better than a 58. But you have to remember that he had a 5.5 last year, a 5.3 the year before that, and a 4.5 back in 2018. So they started him from a low level, and they can't just give him all the goodness from this year's walk rate just yet. So if he continues to show that this walk rate is legitimate, he's going to start pushing up. Now, is there enough juice to get to diamond? That I don't know. I was surprised by how quickly Karen Chat got there, and I appreciate that they are willing to move these relievers into diamond more quickly. So keep a close eye on him, because as you can see, he's actually below price right now. And this is the phenomenon where when somebody goes gold, everyone just like quick sells or like automatic sells all of their cards to the highest price that's in there. Sometimes even if it's under the 1,000 base price, because they don't know any better. So somebody who has that 177 stub order is going to get it filled. They're going to get a Matt Barnes for 177, and then they can turn around and quick sell that and make the profit. So you can't go in and put in sub 1,000 orders. So these are orders from back when he was a silver. Anyway, you can ground floor this one for sure. It costs you nothing to hang out. If you maybe you're a Boston fan and you believe in everything he's been. I haven't really watched him, okay? So I'm box score scouting everything. There's legitimacy to what he's doing based on the stats. It's just a matter of if he can maintain it. So that's the only thing that we have to see right now. And again, I think it's going to take at least another 6 weeks to get him to diamond. But even that would still be a pretty fast trajectory for Matt Barnes, who started the year as a silver with seemingly no chance to go diamond. Like if you had asked me at the beginning of the year, well, what's his opportunity to go diamond? I said, no fucking shot, dude. He walks everybody. He's not going to do it. Well, players change. That's why we play the games, man. We don't just play them out on paper. If you know how I feel about Gallegos, then you know that you should already be invested in him. I think he's underrated right now. He should be higher than an 82 right now, and I absolutely believe that he should be knocking on the door for diamond. He can't hurt you at this price. I'm already in. You can see here, I've already got 8, which is not like an over-the-top investment, but I got these like day one. This was one of the guys I went and got right away at base price because I just really believe in Gallegos. And he's been so good that, like I said, I don't know why he's not a little bit higher already. Look at his numbers since the start of 19. 114 innings with an 11.2 K9. Let's pull up his stats. 11.2 K9. Excuse me. 2.0 walk rate and 5.0 hits per 9. So his hits per 9 is already really good. It's over 100. But why is his K rate only 76? That's way too low. And why is his walk rate only 77? Now, I won't say that's way too low, but I think it should be in the 80s. I'd have to do a little comparison on that. 77 is actually a pretty good number for his walk rate. I'll focus more on the hits and the Ks, though. Especially the Ks. The Ks, absolutely. Like, I don't know why he's only at 76. Now, he's not helping his case that much this year because he's actually down from the previous 2 years. But coming into the season, he'd had his last 3 years. So if you lop off 21 and you add 18 instead, even though he only threw 11 innings, it was 11.3 strikeouts, 2.1 walks, 5.7 hits. Why is an 11.3 strikeout rate over the last 3 seasons only a 76? I know relievers are striking out guys at crazy rates, but 11.3 is still a pretty crazy rate. I think it should at least be in the low 80s. So at least get us to an 83, 84 and have him knocking on the door for diamond. So I'm in on him. I'm just holding him for the year because I really think he has an opportunity to get there. He's a fucking stud. And this is also why I don't want to hear any Cardinals fans whining about the fucking Luke Voigt trade. You got an elite reliever and you have Paul Goldschmidt. Shut the fuck up about Luke Voigt. It drives me nuts. Anyway, Kluber's now 3 outs away from his no-hitter. If you're watching this on YouTube, you already know exactly how it turned out. But I am streaming this on Twitch, twitch.tv/spore. You can come out, hang out if you are somebody who watches only on YouTube. Edwin Diaz, he's a long way out. I actually kind of got in on him early, thinking like he would be a fun long-term guy to maybe get back to Diamond. And he's been fine. Like the ones I have, I think I have like a bunch left. Yeah, I have 15. I ended up overbuying, to be honest. It was one of those things where I was putting in orders online, and sometimes you don't know like when things are going through. So I was kind of like spamming orders, and then I looked up when the night was over with investing, and I literally had 32 Edwin Diaz's. I was like, that was way too fucking many. The 15 I still have are way too many. So please don't take the 15 that I have as like this over-the-top endorsement of him. It was a mistake. I've actually traded in some for the NL East Affinity. I sold some back to make a few extra stubs, like because if you sell them over 1,100, I bought them at 1,000, so or just over. So I was making a few stubs back or whatever. I should have as many as I have of Gallegos, which is what, 8. That's how I view him. I view him similarly to Gallegos. So please don't look at the 15 and be like, Spore thinks he's like the next Diamond for sure, because that's not true, and I don't want to mislead y'all. I just got a little carried away that night when I had 30 fucking 2 Diaz's, bro. What the hell? Friend of the stream, Trevor May. Friend of the streaming community, by the way. It's not just unique to us. He's just a badass who's just an awesome guy. He's killing it. Could he get there? He maybe could. What he would really have to do first and foremost is cut his hit rate. He's allowing a hit per inning right now. So until that comes down, he's not really going to threaten. If he gets to 83, 84, we can revisit because he's super cheap. But for now, you don't really have to invest in him. Now, I'm kind of surprised that he has not maintained a price of like at least 2,500 or over. I thought when he went gold, people would just shoot him to the moon and maintain him over 2,500. The fact that they haven't does create an opportunity. Now, I understand that he's 4 points away, but if this is the breakout that we think it is, I mean, he's going to be Diamond by the end of the year, right? Like, so this feels like an opportunity. And so, I'm sitting on a few right now, nothing too crazy, but like anything under 2 G's on Vlad, I think is worth taking a shot on right now and at least putting some aside. It's 4 points, and you can see right now that +9s only gets him another 2 points. So it's going to take a little while. I think the earliest would be the All-Star break. But again, I'm in it for the long term with Vlad, and I'm just riding it out to see where it goes, because I got in at silver. I can't be hurt. You can't hurt me, SDS, unless you take him down to a bronze just to troll me. That'd be rude, though. All right, and now we're into the 81s. Actually, Vlad was an 81. And I don't really think there's going to be anybody else that I really see here. Actually, you know what? Let's identify a couple 81s that I would actually invest in. Now, these are definitely long-term, okay? Vlad, I even said, is an all-star break, and he's been arguably the best hitter in baseball. He's definitely one of the top 5 so far this year, and he's all-star break. So keep in mind that these 81s are long-term, but I'll give you a few that I could actually see myself investing in. Bo, obviously. He's got dynamic skills that can have him raising his numbers any different way. He can maybe add to his steal rating because he's running like crazy this year, which, by the way, got that one wrong. If you listen to my podcast, you know that I had some concerns about whether or not he would run. Now, this is one of those where I'm just going to look like I'm just trying to cover for an L, and I'm not, but it's like I want to have a real discourse about it too. I don't want to just be like, L, 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 L. It's like, yes, I was wrong. He did run. But I don't think it was completely unfounded to at least question whether or not he might be the next George Springer or Jock Peterson in terms of somebody who ran a shit ton in the minors, but then they get to the majors and they're like, I don't think so. That's not really for me because it doesn't really fit my game. He was 8 for 13 coming into this year in 75 games. I was just a little concerned that maybe he wasn't that good of a base stealer. He promptly goes 7 for 7 in his first 40 games, and I'm a fucking idiot. I get it. But I don't think my process was terrible. Sometimes you make a call based on information that you have. it goes the other way because of skill development, you can be wrong and still just like, take that information, readjust your assessment and move forward. So now I'm back on. Bo can run. He's a dynamic player. He's a second, third rounder in fantasy, and it's all good. But as far as him getting diamond, he absolutely could because, again, he is very dynamic. I don't know where his defense is at this year, but he strikes me as somebody who, if his defense is improved enough, we can give a little nudge to SDS to sprinkle a little extra on there for us because they don't update defense every week or every 2 weeks because that'd be a nightmare for them because defense is noisy. You'd be moving guys up and down wildly. So it's kind of on us in the community. Not that they never adjust defense, but it needs to be an outlier. But it gives us an opportunity in the community to identify some guys who have seen a big change in their defense, and then we can let SDS know, hey guys, we know you're not super focused on defense, but here's 3 or 4 guys that could really use a boost. So I don't know where Bo's defense is this year, but if it's improved as well, then he could really get there. But he can get there on the strength of his offense alone. He's dirt cheap. I would definitely stow away some Bo Bichette's for the long term. I would have said Kenta Maeda a week ago because he had that start against Texas that was really good, and then even that start against the White Sox was like one little blip where he gave up the 3 runs, but then everything else was pretty good. But then he got blitzed by Oakland again, and I'm off him like fully rebounding this year and like getting back to diamond. I still think that I would keep him in fantasy. I still believe in him as a pitcher who's like really good, but I don't think he's necessarily going to get to diamond. So I'm not in on that anymore. Devers is somebody I would be remiss if I didn't mention at all. He's an elite hitter. I really believe that. He's a fucking badass hitter. And we're seeing another excellent season from him so far. But it all has to come from the hitting because he's not a very good defender and he doesn't run. Can he do it by hitting lefties? Because you see here, he's already great against righties. He can only get so much more, and he's not hitting lefties. So until he shows a pulse against lefties, I wouldn't even invest for the long term. And then no thanks on Ozuna. And then my last one is my boy Jared Walsh. Now, if you've been with us all year, you know that this was one of my primary golds off rip. There was just no way that he wasn't going gold this year. And so he was one of my heavy investments immediately. He's been so good and he's carried over so many of the gains from last year that I do think diamond is at least a possibility. Now, again, we're talking long term, and he would also need to hit lefties at a better clip than he is right now to get there. So like Devers, until you see that lefty work start to come through, you don't really have to invest, but at least put them on your radar. And I'm probably going to put a few aside. Like I have 2 left right now. I'm probably going to get up to like 6 and then just sit on them the rest of the year. That's how I'm going to do it with that. Nobody else right now below 81 that I'm really keeping a close eye on. Arozarena hit 2 tonight. We'll keep an eye on him. He can definitely get there. Actually, we'll make him the last one because I think he's actually got a better chance than Walsh, to be quite honest. I didn't realize he was over here. So, yeah, we're going to end on a Arozarena because he's got the skills to pay the bills, man. He can do everything. He's just starting to come alive with a 2-homer game tonight. He could definitely get there. I would put him above Walsh and Devers. But that is going to do it for the Destined for Diamond look at the current golds right now. If you have a question about somebody I didn't talk about or further details about somebody, definitely put it in the comments below. As always, you can come out to twitch.tv/Sporer, or I'm streaming 5-6 nights a week. Hang out, watch stuff like this live, get your questions answered. But until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.